Hello once again, this is Joanna. Welcome to your March readings. I have a couple of announcements, so this intro is going to be slightly longer, but there's good stuff here. Number one, first and foremost, thank you so much for watching, for coming back, for listening, for liking, for subscribing. For those of you who have booked a reading with me, thank you so much. You know who you are. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. March readings are different in a way that I have been asked to use completely different cards. I've never used them before. I actually bought them about 12-15 years ago when I was going through a pretty challenging time, and I kind of like them. I never in my life thought I was going to do these readings, certainly not on YouTube or live, or readings in general. And I was told very clearly to use these cards. Now, they have no numbers, they have no meanings, they have no symbology, they have nothing other than art in order to inspire certain emotion, to evoke certain feeling, and to prompt an intuition or intuitive prompting. In my case, it also starts the process of information flowing from my guides as far as feeling, hearing, and seeing and knowing. So I will show you these cards. They're called soul cards. There is soul cards. This is the first one, and I believe there's a soul cards 2. And you'll see, just like in this vision, there is nothing. There's no numbers. So the card will show up like this, and it'll evoke a certain feeling, image, words, and often a certain phrase that I will hear. So what I do with these cards is I hold them up to the screen so that you can look at them and see what emotion is evoked within you. Always listen to your intuition. Just because your interpretation is different than mine does not make mine or yours wrong or right. It simply means your information may be in addition to what I'm saying or instead of. So always listen to your intuition. I was very timid starting with these cards. I wasn't sure how I was going to like it. It's because there is no parameters. Mind you, I'm not one that fits within certain categories, so it's actually should have been no surprise to me that I would really like them, because the moment I started the first reading, I actually loved them. I loved the energy. I loved how it was just so easy for me to hear. It was just an instant flow. I wasn't bogged down by any numbers, any dates, any wording. There's nothing for me to interpret. It was just pure information flow. So I hope you like them. Please let me know, and maybe I will keep this for a while, or until my guide tells me to go and do something else, which is what he always does. And I just kind of go, okay, you know what you're doing, and I just follow. It's called trust. Now, the other thing is exciting, that on March 20th, I'm going to be debuting my very first radio show. That is March 20th, which is a Monday. It's going to happen every other Monday at 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. This show is going to be live. It is going to be archived, and I will post this also on my YouTube channel, so you can also listen to it afterwards. When it's live, some of the sessions will have a component of me doing a reading live, so you can call in, or doing a reading with somebody else so that you guys can call in. On Monday, my first show, I will be interviewing a lady, a phenomenal soul. Her name is Stephanie, and we're going to talk everything inspirational, and also everything, not creation, yes, but manifesting. So we will talk about her story. She's just super funny and just amazing. And we will talk everything about manifesting. We might even take a caller or two live to give free readings, or whatever it happens to be at the time. Point is, I would encourage you to listen to it, because the show is for you. When Spirit asked me to do the show, and I said, what the heck for? It was very clear to me that my work, however it's going to transpire, is something that you have been asking for, maybe not in a specific way, through me. And the show is all about empowering and inspiring people. And this is going to be done through messages from Spirit, information that I have gone through and interviewing different individuals who have inspiring stories. So what I would like to do is I would like to ask you to send me your ideas about what it is that you would like to see on the show. So send me an email. That information is down below for you, with a subject line, radio show idea. And every time I implement the idea live, I will mention your name unless you ask me not to. So since this is for you, it only makes sense that I include and involve you in this process as much as possible. And I also think it's going to be fun. It's going to be, certainly when I use your ideas and you hear it, I think it just creates a certain involvement and an inclusivity, and I always want to be as inclusive as possible. And I think that's all I have. I don't want to talk too much because it's already way longer intro than any other intro, but I hope you can appreciate what it is that I was trying to say. Of course, these are general readings. If you would like more readings, I have videos on Vimeo for very small fee, and some of those are projections for 6 months, some of those are projections for 3 months for relationships, and I have those links included down below as well. Without further ado, let's get started with March reading. Thank you so much for watching, for liking, as always. And if you would like to contact me privately, that information is also down below. And I will see you in a moment. Stay tuned. Welcome, Aries. This is going to be a reading for the month of March. I have 4 cards laid down, my new cards. Let's see what we have. Before I turn the cards over, they are face down. When I was shuffling the cards, concentrating on your energy for the month of March, I heard the word expansion. And as I say the word expansion, I see the number 8. 8 to me in this case represents power. So I feel like the month of March is going to be a catalyst in some respect for you to either regain your power, reclaim your power, gain your power, and this is your personal power, through the process of expansion. And this is expansion on the inside more so than on the outside. This is expansion of the mind, expansion of the heart, expansion of you understanding aspects of yourself and therefore the world around you in a much more vast way. And vast is the word that's being given to me. So sometimes I love when my guides give me names or words that I don't typically use because, well, it's just fun, and sometimes those words connect with you specifically. They don't with me, but I just find it really cool. So let's go with the first card, which represents the overall energy for March 2017. And again, before I turn the card over, I heard and saw the word 2016. So I wonder if there's a residual energy, or this is going to connect to something that happened or transpired in the year of 2016, particularly the month of October and November. For some of you, of course, this is a general message. So let's see what the first card is. General energies. Just like before, I will, or just like with other signs, I will hold the card up first so that you can look at it. It has no numbers, no names, no words, so there's nothing to read per se. And I would encourage you to look at the card and see what comes up for you intuitively as you look at this card. My interpretation of the card may not be the right one for you, and nor is it right or wrong. Your interpretation isn't right or wrong. It's just whatever you get. If you get something different than I do, please listen to that in addition to what I am being asked to say. And again, when I look at this particular face, it feels like this face is pushing through some kind of, I want to call it a veil, pushing through aspects of yourself that have been left undealt and unseen, and that's the word I'm getting. So I'm going to expand on this and just feel this out. So just give me 1 second while I tune into this card energetically. I feel like I'm being pushed through obstacles, like I'm trying to come through something that has been holding me back or holding me down. For some of you, most of your life. For some of you, for quite some time. I see the number 3. For some of you, could be as long as 3 years, 3 decades, or since you were 3. I don't think it's 3 months. It could be. Again, the month of October comes through. So some of you are dealing with something or have dealt with something since the month of October or November, something that has drastically changed the world and the world around you. And I hear and see this as being an obstacle. And I feel like you are pushing through this. You are trying your best to push through something, whatever the situation is. For some of you, it's going to be relationship. You're trying to push through something that has been weighing very heavily on you. And I feel the month of March is going to offer you a greater expansion, meaning a greater understanding of the situation or you, and therefore the situation. It very much feels like I'm pushing through a wall, like I'm trying to get through something, and it's been difficult, and very definite pushing through an obstacle. So that's the overall energy. Now, let's go with more specifics. This next card represents obstacles that you might be potentially facing in the month of March. Now, for some of you, this is going to be a relationship. For some of you, it's going to be work. I also heard the word religion. So I'm going to ask how this relates. And I feel like some of you are going to be pushing past through religious boundaries that have been part of your life or part of your upbringing. And whatever the religious boundaries have been, boundaries being signified as something that has held you back from helping you become a better version of yourself. And I feel this is to do with fears. So I'm going to leave that for you to interpret, but for some of you, it's going to be something to do with religion. So this card represents obstacles. And again, I'm going to show you this card. And another sign got this card. So take a look at what you feel when you see this. The coloring is beautiful. It's predominantly violet or lavender and yellow. Yellow is the color of solar plexus, and the moment I say the word yellow, I hear the word fear. For some of you, this is fear of not being good enough. The purple here represents, it's a very high energy vibration, high vibration color, representing your spirituality. And what is being said here, or what I feel here, is that in your past, you have been bound by fears that are somehow connected to your belief system, and it has a connection to spirituality or religion. I want to say more religion than spirituality because I don't necessarily connect the two. I don't believe that necessarily someone who's religious is necessarily spiritual, although I don't want to get into it because that's a long discussion. And somebody who's spiritual is definitely not necessarily someone who is religious. Like I am not longer the religious, though I believe in religion and I absolutely have respect. But point being is, when I look at this card, I hear the words let go. So there is going to be something that will come up for you. For some of you, it's going to be potentially around workforce or work area. For some of you, it's going to be around relationship. And then again, I hear the word car. So obviously that makes no sense to me. Some of you are going to have an issue with a car. Okay, that's because it's coming as an obstacle. It is nothing connected to this card, but that's what I just heard. And the issue with the card is that it needs either major repairs or something about repairs. And I also heard the word brakes, and I heard the word tune-up. So for some of you, it's just dealing with some minor stuff. Some of you are going to be, again, I hear the word religious background. So for those of you who are listening to this, who have a religious background, I feel like you may resonate with this message more so than other people. Now, it could be that your family comes from a religious background, or you were born into a religious background. It doesn't mean you are religious anymore. Probably you're not if you're listening to this, but there is definitely a feeling of a religious background. And something is going to come up that is going to, again, I hear the word work. It's going to challenge your belief system. Now, you know, how can work challenge your belief system? I don't know. There could be a gazillion different things, but it's something to do with the word trust. So again, because this is a general message and I have no connection to what it is, and it could be interpreted to, you know, 1,000 different ways depending on who you are. Something is happening in the month of March towards April, March-April, where you will deal with something that will potentially make you question your entire belief system. And when I look at this card, I feel like I am being protected divinely here by an angel. This person having their hands up, it's not that they're giving up, but they're letting go. And the letting go signifies let go of your past fears, let go of your past boundaries, let go of that which has bound you in the past. And again, there's a connotation to religion. And this is divinely guided process. So this is actually very interesting. So if there is an obstacle that comes up for you in the month of March, and it is going to, if something comes up that's going to really shake up your world, I feel that your belief system is going to be challenged. And I clearly hear the word fear, and for some of you, fear of not being good enough. And that can come up with work, and it can also come up with relationships, whether it's romantic or other types of relationships. Something is going to be triggered. So that's the obstacle that comes up in or around the month of March. The next card signifies actions to take. So again, I'm going to hold this card and see what comes up for you. Predominant colors here are blue and white, and there is some gray or dark. So notice what you feel or what intuitively comes to you right away when you look at this card. And then I'm going to tune in and ask for the specific wording here. The message is, let your limitations fall away so that you can once again become the individual you are meant to be. Now, the words once again are interesting because it does signify for some of you that you didn't have these limitations. Well, of course, we're not born with limitations. Mostly, we are born with certain traits, but limitations are dictated to us by our environment. So, of course, when we're born, it's a clean slate, and then our environment sets forth certain sets of belief systems or mechanisms that then create a foundation or a belief system, and that we carry that through most of our lives unless we change it. So, there is also a feeling here of you needing to freely start expressing yourself and your individuality. Again, this is to do with work for some of you, and for some of you it's to do with relationships. Again, whether it's a girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, common law, mother, daughter, son, whatever, doesn't matter what the relationships, anyone that you relate to in a emotional manner is a relationship. Obviously, some relationships are deeper than others, but I think you understand what I'm trying to say. And when I look at this card, I feel like this bird is, he's not trying to get away, but he is leaving behind something that has been the foundation or the norm. I'm going to say the norm. And as I look at the card again, I'm turning this over, and there's something interesting that I'm noticing. So when I turn this card over, you might have seen it earlier or not. I didn't. Now if I turn it this way, notice it's a face. And lips, nose, you see the forehead here. And it seems like this bird is coming out of this person's lips. This also represents a bit of a bird, you see here. And this is a duplication of this bird. And because this bird is coming out of this person's mouth, again, it signifies to me freedom of expression, freedom of speech, freedom of being an individual that you were meant to be or that you were born to be. Individual without boundaries, and individual without limitations. Now, yes, we do live in a world where there's limitations all over the place, but we are only as limited as we allow ourselves to believe in our limitations. And some of you will not necessarily agree with this, and I completely have respect for that. But if you really think about it, our limitations are only as severe as we let it define us in our mind. And I think you understand what I'm trying to say. So whatever comes up for you in the month of March is going to challenge your belief system, and the message here, or the action for you to take, is to let go of that which no longer serves you, which is very consistent with this card, trying to push through something, push through an obstacle, push through a situation, push through something that has been holding you back. The other aspect of this card, when I tune into it, I feel the bird in the head represents aspects of me that I have not been able to express before because of fear. Now, me meaning you. So definitely a need for you to express your individuality much more so than you have ever allowed yourself to do before. So whether something comes up with work, some of you are going to come up with work, and some of you are dealing, or some of you are going to come up with a situation surrounding work. Some of you are dealing with an obstacle that has been weighing on you heavily since last year, October or November. Some of you feel bound in a relationship because of the fear that you carry within you. Point being is that in the month of March, April, there is a possibility here, certainly great possibility to let go of something that no longer serves you. And I think I'm going to stop at that because I want to move on to the next card. The next card signifies outcome or advice, and I'm going to ask which he wants me to go with, and he said the word advice. Okay, so again, I'm going to show you the card. Oh, beautiful. See what transpires for you. Obviously, there's a horse here. The background is dark. You can see there's a person here. I'm not going to interpret this too much for you because it's meant to be a visual that triggers certain aspects within you, which then will come up to surface and tell you what this is supposed to mean for you. But I will tune into this card and see what it is showing me. First and foremost, horse represents freedom. And the way this card is positioned, it is, so this card was first, and this is the card here. So this is the obstacle that is going potentially to happen in March, and the horse is running away from the obstacle. So basically this is signifying that you will be moving away from the obstacle, but as an advice, the message is, let the old belief system be put to rest. Now I'm going to tune in again to this card. There's a lot of green, which does not necessarily translate on the screen. Green is a color of healing. There's a lot of emotional healing going on here. And the person that is being carried by the horse, the way I feel this person on the horse, the person is just trusting the horse. They're not positioned in a very comfortable space or spot on the horse. They're just allowing the horse to move forward, whether they're barely hanging on. So the message here is, let yourself be free from that which no longer serves you. Allow yourself to grieve and mourn that which you are leaving behind. But do not for one moment forget who you are, for you are the most powerful being there is, and that is for all of us. Some of you have had challenges around self-respect, and you feel you don't respect yourself. It's not that you don't respect yourself. You feel other people don't respect you. And that can cause a lot of friction in any kind of a relationship. The reason why this is coming up is when one continually feels that they're being disrespected, one must look within themselves and ask the question, what is it that I am emanating into the outside world that then brings forth people and situation that respect me? And the answer is actually simple. There is an aspect of you that does not respect yourself. So you might want to muse about that. You might want to look into it and see if you have not been respecting your own self, whether it's by not having boundaries, by being bound by limitations, by not taking care of yourself first, then others, by being a pleaser, having self-destructive behaviors, anything that basically respects your own being. And I'm going to leave that for you to interpret, because it can be interpreted in a gazillion different ways. Point being is the month of March offers a tremendous opportunity to move away from something that has been limiting you, and for some of you is most of your life. And it's going to come out as a result of a situation that will come up to surface in the month of March or April. And this situation is going to bring up all of those beliefs and all of those limitations. And when they're up, you can recognize they're still there and work with them to transform them and move yourself away from it. So that's why the word expansion came to me at the very beginning, because when we let the chains go, when we unbind ourselves from the chains that hold us, and this is a metaphor, we inevitably allow ourselves to expand. When we are stuck in a prison that is, for most of us, self-made here, we cannot expand because the cell is too small. When we allow the prison cells to fall away by stepping outside of those belief systems, that's when the expansion takes place. And I'm also seeing the number 9. 9 to me represents ending. So for many of you, you will be ending a certain chapter in your life that is signified by letting go of old beliefs and behaviors that stem from these beliefs that no longer serve you. So with that said, I'm going to leave this for you to interpret in your own way. Of course, this is a general reading, so it will not make sense to all of you, but this is a pretty deep message that anyone can relate to some extent or another. And even though it does not talk specifically about specifics, it is a much deeper message that if you look into it and if it makes sense to you, you can see how it relates to your specific situations. And that's how my messages come to me. They're meant to be much deeper in order to stir the very SHIT that we no longer need. If you would like a private session to see how this fits with you, by all means, I would be more than happy to do that with you. I'd be honored. That information is down below. Thank you so much, excuse me, for watching, sharing, for liking, and for subscribing. Of course, I wish you all the best in the month of March. Do listen to your other signs, your rising, moon, and sun sign, because it will offer you a much broader picture of what is happening. And until April, I wish you best of luck. Take care of yourself, and see you soon. Bye.